So hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Finally back with some interview for Netherlands. It's been a while.
Yeah, well, what has your connection been with the Netherlands then? Have you? I assume you've played here.
Yeah, we played in the Netherlands, and I also played with like old bands of mine, like way back in the
Sure.
Netherlands. But it's never been a place where we've been too often, and I'd love to play more there. But it's such a funny thing with neighbor countries of Germany. So we're pretty well known in Germany. And actually, we're not doing that bad in our neighbor countries.
Hmm.
But, local promoters, some of them are having a hard time booking us. We're trying
Okay.
the same discussion at the moment with a show that we want to play in Denmark because
Hmm.
we're playing with Iron Maiden in summer and we need to go to Helsinki. So I thought like we do some shows on the way up. Man, I tell you, it's not easy. It's the same with the Netherlands. So there's like, we need to have some local promoters that do believe in us. But finally, we are going to play one or two shows in the Netherlands again this year. I
Okay.
can't tell you when, but it's going to be in fall. And I'm super happy to come back because I love it. And I'm going to tell you a secret. I think I never told that before, but my son, my kid, was conceived in
O-
Amsterdam. So
Okay. Okay. So plenty of connections. That's
yeah, it is.
so
So
you had some good times here. That's good to
yeah,
hear. But this is I suppose, a good segue into what you've been up to lately, because you mentioned these different countries, and now you are up to be the German kind of participant for the Eurovision Song Contest. So this international character, is that always something that the band has? Uh, yeah, how would you say that?
has strived for.
Yes, exactly.
It's not decided yet. So you guys
Sure.
can still vote if we are going to Eurovision Song Contest or not. The show is this Friday. And there's 8 other contestants, and yeah, after that we will know if we go there or not. But yeah, of course we hope to. I mean, hey, it's that would be fucking great to have some alternative music, to have some metal music back at Eurovision
Mm.
from Germany. I think we had some rock and metal at Eurovision, but I think never from Germany, as far as I remember. So that would be a cool thing. Um, yeah, well, the thing is, when I started Lord of the Lost uh, as a solo project a long time ago, 2007, and when we became a band in 2009, we were just a hobby band. We didn't
Mm.
strive for anything. We just wanted to make music, and maybe that was our key to success because what drives us is a love for music, and it still is. We never try to listen to anyone like you should do this or that or marketing strategies, or we're never looking for trends what people might most like, because we would end up hating our own music because we
Right.
would just do the things that to please people. So what we do, what you see of us, whatever it is, however weird it might be, it's because we love it. And so when we had a chance to do like our first international things, and I think England was one of the first countries because I used to tour there with one of my old bands. We were just like, hey, come on, we're singing in English, so and why not try it? And traveling with the band when all of the guys in the band and the crew are friends, and all those guys are my best friends. I mean, it's an awesome thing. So even if no people are showing up, which has been the case in the past, like when you go to a country for the first time, of course, sometimes it sucks, no one shows up, but we're still a bunch of best friends on vacation. So this is how we started that. And then we actually realized, wow, there's a market. There are countries that are really much into Lord of the Lost. And meanwhile, we have toured over 30 countries between China
Sure.
and the US and Mexico and everything in between. So it was great. It still
No, and
is.
I think that those early shows that you mentioned when you're trying to break into a new market, I think they're important, even if they at the moment aren't the greatest tours that you kind of envision. I think it builds character, and it kind of brings the band closer together as well.
Totally. There's this one show. I'm not sure if I ever told it in public. but I will now. Maybe I have. But we played a US tour, like very a road trippy kind of thing with like, yeah, sometimes 20 people showing up, sometimes 100 in 2014, long time ago. And we played the show in Las Vegas. We wanted to play the show in Las Vegas, and then we pulled in on the parking lot, and it was like outside of the strip in Las Vegas, some industrial area. And then came a guy out of this. It was more like a bar than a club, and he came out like, "What are you guys doing here?" And we said, "Yeah, we're a lot of lots from Germany. We're playing a show here." He was like, "Wait a moment." Then he went inside. 2 minutes later, he came back with a printed out sheet of paper and put it on some pile there on the parking lot. Said like, "Done. Promo is on." And we were like, "Okay." And in the end, no one showed up, like really no one. But we had two support bands. They were playing. We didn't. And like, oh man, it was yeah. So we played a show in Las Vegas. We never played it, but we put it in our list of shows that we played. So actually, we lied about that one show.
Hey, so if it's written down, it's real, right?
Yeah.
No, but I always like those stories, and whenever I do read a lot of biographies from rock bands, and those stories, those initial years are always to me the most interesting, because as you mentioned, then it's all free. You don't really have an ambition, especially financial yet, and then it's very creative and free. So if you imagine where you are now, and I mean, you have a chance to be in the Eurovision Song Contest. Did you have any expectations when you started, or those first couple of years?
Any expectations like from Lord of Lost in general, from the career?
Yeah. Just in terms of what you would be able to do with the band.
No, really not. We just wanted to make the music we love, and we still have that paradigm, because when people sometimes ask like, what would you guys do if you get like real successful, and we're like, what is real successful? Look at what we have achieved until now. We have a #1 record. We have like we really have a big audience already for our terms, a big audience. And when does success start? What do you mean? Does success start on an Iron Maiden level, like playing stadiums, or what we have done so far? Isn't that success? So we try not or never to measure anything that we do on those weird parameters of success. We always, if we feel like we are happy, then we don't try to expect. So like this typical question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Or where do you want to see yourself in 5 years? In 5 years, I want to see myself somewhere where I am right now, being happy with the thing I do. And we are at a point now where we can somehow live from our music. And I mean, that's a great success, because this is like, man, we have fought for that for such a long time. And when people come to me and congratulate me to our overnight success, I'm like, really? Like, it's been a long night, 25 years, you know, like I'm 43 right now. I started doing that when I was 18. That's a long time. So no, we didn't expect anything, and we try not to expect anything. We just, if you're true to yourself, if you're authentic because you do what you love and you love what you do, then everything's fine. And I also stopped having any trueness discussions with metalheads about what's true or not, because if you do what you love, you're authentic, and then you're true. Everything else is not true to me. Sticking to some kind of dogma from whatever kind of scene, for me, it doesn't have anything to do with trueness.
Yeah, that I agree completely. I think every little subgroup has their own rules, so it's impossible to live by them all the time, absolutely. And it's at the end pointless anyway.
Yeah, so we're not even trying to yeah.
No, but I do. Maybe this is too philosophical, then. But what do you get out of making music? What is it that keeps pulling you back, and what keeps you? It's probably not just even music. You're very visually creative, I think, as a band as well. So what is it that you get out of this whole thing? Is it something you need to do? Is it just to clear your head?
I think it's just really something I need to do, and not just with Lord of the Lost. I work as a music producer and songwriter with many other artists, or for many other artists. And if I'm not doing that, it's like my valve. Like I feel like I'm exploding. I realized it during the pandemic.
Mm.
Like I was so limited in the things I could do. I don't necessarily have to go on stage. I love being on stage, but it's not the most important thing for me. The most important thing for me is to work with people on music.
Mm.
And I really feel like I'm just getting unhappy if I cannot let these things out. So I think it's just my way to level myself with everything. You know, other people, they have to go, I don't know, they have to go to the forest and run. Others need a fast car and whatever. Others go to the gym. Okay, I do that too. But you know, everyone has his
Sure.
things, and I think that's a good thing, because I'd still be that happy if I would just be able to do these things for myself. So if I had a different job and not being on stage at all, if I could just write some songs for myself, and I'd be happy. And I still do that. I have so many songs that I just did for myself, never released them, maybe never will. It's just it's just my thing.
Mm.
I'm Others are collecting. I'm collecting songs in a way. I think you said it's maybe too philosophical. I think it's not too philosophical. I think that's my way of capturing moments somehow. It's like a photography for me to create a song. And some of them are just for me, so I don't even have to show them to somehow, just my memory.
And is it in a sense, because I hear this from musicians every once in a while, that sometimes it's easier to write a song about it than to talk to somebody, or to kind of explain what you're feeling to somebody. Is that the same for you then? That these songs they deal with kind of, or not deal with, that's not the right way to say it, but at least they touch upon what you go through in real life, and you can kind of figure things out through them.
I think so, yes, because when you talk to someone, you always have to find the right words, that what you want to say is actually reaching the other person. And if you're just capturing that moment for yourself, then you can speak in whatever language you want, and that language can be music, can be even instrumental stuff. Doesn't even have to be words. So you understand. It's maybe like those cryptic handwriting that everyone has, and only you can read it. You're just making some notes, what groceries you gotta buy in the afternoon. Everyone's like, what is that? But you can read it. So yeah, maybe that's actually a good thought. Yeah.
Well, let's dive into it a little bit deeper then. If we take Blood and Glitter, because you mentioned just now, kind of what you try to do with music is you're capturing moments, you're capturing these snapshots of life, I suppose. So with Blood and Glitter, then, if you look back now, because I imagine that the album has been done for quite a while, because it takes a while to get released and stuff. How do you see that album now, Blood and Glitter? Do you have a certain snapshot for it, or what was the moment that you tried to capture?
Music and making music has different aspects. It's not all about capturing moments. Sometimes it's also just about telling stories, or trying to put a thought in music, which is going to reach people later. So, like, deliberately giving hope and perspective through music. So, and Blood and Glitter is more like that song. It's not a song which is like my song and I wanted to tell my story, although I can reflect in it. It was more a song. Blood in this sense is not about the blood that spills out of us. It's nothing brutal. It's about our elixir of life. And it also says in the song, we're all from the same blood. So the song actually says, and that's nothing new, it actually says, be you, be true to yourself, and accept others like they are, because we're all made from the same blood. It's like this line, we're all made of stars, it's just, we're all the same. So this song is actually meant to be an anthem to empathy, humanity, to all of us, but also embracing our surroundings, glitter in that sense, that also lifestyle, and also what we might call superficial is a part of all of us that makes life beautiful. It's a Carpe Diem song. It's a Life is Beautiful song. It's a Believe in Yourself song. So this is what this song is about. The album itself has like many songs. It's also very political. Some songs are very angry. And because we thought it would be a nice thing to actually mix some attitude and some statements and some sincere thoughts with that glam rock attitude to actually show the contrast, that it doesn't have to be just, party and costumes and glitter. You can actually say something, although you look like that.
Yeah, I think because the music is so energetic, but then if you listen to the words, there's actually some substance in it that's very interesting to listen to. I love those because you mentioned earlier that you don't really worry what other people might think of your music. You don't let them influence you. And with songs like No Respect for Disrespect and Leave Your Hate in the Comments, those kind of things, they kind of embody that. There's one line from No Respect for Disrespect: your rage and your ache, a reflection of your loveless hell. So do you kind of feel for the people who just go on the internet and be horrible to other people?
Yes, I sometimes I'm really, there's one thing. I don't know, you just have to go to the supermarket and see people like hating at each other and like yelling at the cashier, like at the people who work there. And what most people forget are like in the car, fuck you, like you. People in cars are the worst. All people forget that every single person has a fight to fight. So no life is easy, and never forget that maybe this person, the way how this person reacts and maybe treats others, is just because life is so hard for them at this moment, and they don't have any other chance to let it out. And of course, it's not fair that they are doing that, and it's not good, and it's not empathetic. But if you just try to understand them, then it kind of gets easier to react to such people. So meanwhile, I tend to, if I'm reacting to like hateful comments, I'm trying to react in an understanding way, sometimes with some sarcasm, of course. But I try to. And yes, to get to the core of your question, I kind of feel sorry for some of these people, because in some of these comments, it really feels like it's the only thing that kind of makes them happy. They don't have anything but sitting in front of the computer screen trolling, like those in those South Park episodes.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that kind of gives them satisfaction. And yes, I feel real sorry for them, and it makes me sad somehow that some people don't have anything but that.
Is the flip side to that then, for instance, a song like Destruction Manual, where you are more empowering to people, where it's kind of, look, you don't have to be like a troll. You can also just love yourself, be happy with yourself, and go live your life. Kind of that attitude.
Yeah,
or,
Destruction Manual, like you could try to find some deeper meaning in that, but it's more like that there was more song conceived for live shows, and like it's really this, fuck it, you can break all the chairs in the venue, they have an insurance, so just let's burn this house down. So it's more of a metaphoric party song in that sense.
Fair enough. Well, it's interesting then, because one thing I really like listening to the album, and perhaps you've done this quite a bit before, which I'm not aware of, but the way you incorporate electronic elements into kind of this metal environment is really cool, I think. How do you balance those two worlds? How you use the synths to not overtake, but to kind of augment what you do?
Oh, that's sometimes really not easy, because it's going so quick that they are overtaking, and it's I love this kind of hybrid productions, and everything you hear is sometimes, or most of the time, it's both electronic and like organic at the same time. So nearly all of the guitars are like doubled with synthetic things, which kind of play the same thing. Also the bass. So sometimes in the verse, when there's more space for the bass guitar, you hear a bass guitar with all those FM synthesizer basses, and you don't really know. And if you manage to make all these things like one instrument, like it feels like one bass, which is both synthetic and organic, it's a beautiful thing. And there's some like audio technical tricks to do that, and the same with the drums. So we have this, it's all like real played drums. So you hear like, but we mostly use the room mics and all the mics that are on top of the drums, and mix them with weird samples. And many of these samples are from old analog 80s drum machines, or we record them ourselves, and then we mix it. So you have like weird sampled 80s direct signals mixed with those room sounds. So you really don't, sometimes really don't know in which world is that happening, because it's like you see a sci-fi film on a VHS, it's an analog medium, but you're watching a sci-fi film, and it's not easy. So to not have the synthetic part take over. So for me, the main key here is reflection, and that means time. So we had the album ready, or the first mix versions ready, like 2 or 3 months before the actual deadline. So we could listen and re-listen to it all day and go into mix corrections again and again and again until we found the right level to still be a rock band or metal band, which incorporates electronic sounds and not the other way around.
You mentioned producing quite a bit of music as well outside of kind of what you do with Lord of the Lost. So do you enjoy that process of tinkering and just tweaking little bits, or is it kind of a chore as well in a sense?
It really depends on what I'm doing. Some things I do, I'm brutally honest here, are just for money, of course, because in the end, I have to feed my family. So it's when I'm working on, let's say, some advertising sound design, it's not like I'm putting my heart into it, because I feel like I can artistically express myself.
Right.
And then if the final customer comes with like the 10th correction round of a mix because he's not satisfied, then it's more like a chore and a duty, and it can be really annoying. But if it's something I like working on, it's a super interesting process. So it can be both,
Okay.
In the end, what I'm doing is a job, and every job sucks here.
Yes.
No matter how successful you are, sometimes it just sucks.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And even when it's something you love, and do you find that people who know that you're in a band but who don't really get that music scene, do they understand what you do in a sense? Because as you mentioned, people see you as overnight success. They probably think that you're really, really rich and really successful, all that stuff. Do people kind of have misconceptions of what it is like being in a band?
I think so, and but I say I think so because I think we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg of people with misconceptions in some comments, or sometimes when you hear like hearsay things about yourself, like,
right.
Hey, this guy told blah blah blah, all these weird rumors about our band, especially about me as a person personally, and job-wise rumors, like super weird stuff, most of them sexually. There's so many rumors about like girls I have slept with, which I have never ever met in my life, and I'm like, okay, wow, interesting. So much misconception, and I think there's so much more which we will never hear. I think the worst we will never hear, because I still think that like the real haters, they kind of stay in the shadow and just like spill their their sardonic hate in the underground. So, and one more thing, which is actually pretty dangerous, there's like all this fake profile shit of celebrity. The thing is, we are at a stage of success where we are still like available and approachable for people. So when there's like fake profiles of me, people actually believe it's me. When you find like a fake profile of Johnny Depp, and Johnny Depp is contacting you, no one or nearly no one would believe that. Like, hey, Johnny Depp just wrote me a message. With me, like being way less successful, but successful enough to be interesting for those people, some fans believe that it's actually me behind all those profiles, and there's mostly girls being abused for like naked pictures or being asked for money and all these things. So many people might hate us or might hate me for really the wrong reasons, for things that I have never done. And sometimes I'm really afraid that someone's stabbing me in the back because some guy thinks that I have done bad things to his daughter online or whatever, to sometimes 14-year-old girls. And we have found out about some of these things, like people contacting us on the right channels then and asking and actually saying and showing us screenshots of the things that they have been communicating about with fake me's.
Right.
And so I think a lot of misconception comes from stupidity and from ignorance, but some from these fake profiles, and that's really not a nice thing, and you can't do anything about it.
That sounds very scary, and as you say, it's very difficult to do anything because people are going to do on the internet what they're going to do anyway, and it's very difficult to...
we cannot stop it. There's no way to stop it.
Yeah, but hopefully, as you mentioned, hopefully some sense and sensibility come through, and then people can figure it out. But yeah, that's I've never thought of it that way, and that's, you raise a very interesting point.
I actually have a friend, a musician. I can't tell you who, but some years ago, when all these things started with a fake profile, he had like a fake profile had contact to that one girl, and this fake profile promised this one girl the world, and then he actually met her at some signing session, and he was like, "Who are you?" And she was so shocked about all this, she killed herself.
Oh wow!
And he couldn't deal with that. It really destroyed him. It's something he never did, but he still feels responsible for it because it was about his stage, his band identity, his stage persona.
Yeah,
it's really, really not funny.
So yeah, that's very terrible.
Just, like, for everyone watching, all of our official profiles have this blue checkmark thing. If you don't see that, don't hesitate to go on our website. You will find it just by Google, and use whatever context you find and tell us about the fake profiles, or ask us if it is us if you're not sure. So
well, it's a good, again, like I said, I've never heard it from this perspective, and I think you raised a great point. So it's good that that people get to hear about it a little bit. To round the interview off, well, we talked about a lot of things, but one thing that you do then when you enter or potentially enter a competition like the Eurovision Song Contest is it's the whole world is watching in a way. So in terms of the type of music that you make, you kind of alluded to it as well, but what are how do you think people will receive you then? Or do you even care?
Yeah, well, a part of me always cares, because in the end, I can be, it doesn't matter how much experience you have. Part of me always, there's a hair. Part of me always will care, and it will be hurt by negativity and all these things. But I think the bigger you get, the more people will dislike you in comparison to the people that like you. And I'm totally okay with that. And like, I'm really not trying to think about getting further, but if really we're playing there in Liverpool and like half of the world, not really, but like it feels like half the world is watching and listening, I think many people will at least say, wow, that's interesting. Maybe they won't really like it, but maybe they will say, wow, it's interesting. And of course, there will be a lot of hate. And, most of these hateful comments they're just fucking stupid. Things like, oh, they look too gay for me. And you ask yourself, what does looking gay means? And what is too gay? Which kind of gay just looks right? It's just like, and all these kind of things. So I'm like, yeah, but for me, it's real interesting because Eurovision for me is about diversity, and that includes musical diversity.
Right.
And if we go there, and although there have been like metal bands in the past, mostly from Finland, very interesting things like during the last years.
Yeah.
I think we could add some kind of new spice to it, although we're not reinventing the wheel with anything. It's not like we're doing something no one ever did, but I think the mixture that we bring would be a little new character to Eurovision.
Yeah, and I also think it's a good representative of Germany, as you mentioned in the beginning. Germany is very much a rock and roll country. A lot of rock bands do well there, and then there's a great appreciation for rock music. So it would only be fitting, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And yeah, we'll see. But it's just 3 days from now. I'm like, way too excited and nervous, and yeah. So we will know more this Friday night.
And so there's still 2 days left. I can cut a clip and put it up even today or tomorrow. So if there's still people there who can vote for, why should they vote for you?
They should vote for us just because they like it. No one should vote for us if they don't like it. So I think that's the only reason. Just we want to win by like honest terms and not by just telling people, please vote for us, please, please, please. It's just like, of course, we're happy if they do, but you should vote if you like it.
I think that's a very fitting answer, considering what everything that we've talked about today. So, Chris, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.